drill?
So that's been going on for decades. You understand that? I appreciate the hint, Art. Thank you so much. The Nakba happened in the 40s, right? The ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. Appreciate the rock star. Thank you so much, Taishi.
Israeli and
That's been
Palestinian
happening for decades.
It's actually
that's not new. Don't bring religion into it to justify anything.
Well, I mean, if you want to go back 40 years, let's go back thousands of years.
No, the point I'm making is that you were saying that that's a new conflict. I'm telling you that's not new. So give me a new conflict that we got into.
Wow. Well, maybe you got me on that one. But were we in this much turmoil with other countries under President Trump?
Regardless of whether or not we were, I don't know how I could identify that. I think we were in a lot of turmoil. I don't know if we were more or less. Thank you, Super. Thank you so much. I think there's a lot of turmoil now, and there's a lot of turmoil then. Right? Like, so, yeah, I would say yeah, but, like, I don't know how we'd quantify that.
I just think that President Trump got a lot more respect from third world countries.
Really?
Other countries than
what tells you that?
Look at what Putin has done in Ukraine.
Okay, how did the Biden-Harris administration cause that?
They didn't fear Biden. They didn't fear Biden and what he was going to do.
They didn't fear Biden?
They didn't fear him one bit.
So, okay, you're saying... So you're
yeah.
saying they don't fear Biden. Why do they fear, by the way, Kamala Harris is the candidate, but why do they fear Trump?
Well, it happened under the Biden administration, for one. The oil pipeline that the Biden administration gave Putin the right to do to benefit them selling that much oil versus the United States selling the oil to Europe.
Wait, you understand that? No, hold up. You understand that the United States produces more oil in the U.S. right now than any point under Trump's administration or of any country ever? And are you driving?
No. I'm sitting in my garage. No, I'm not driving. No.
Go for it.
If that was the case, why are oil prices so high?
Because we are getting less oil from other countries around the world. So there is an agreement signed that Trump signed with OPEC to cut their oil production that was extended beyond 2022. I appreciate the CB. Thank you so much. And there was also a cut in oil we're getting from Russia because of the Russia-Ukraine situation. So the less oil available to the United States, which is going to lead to an increase in gas prices.
But gas prices were down under the Trump administration.
Yeah, I understand that was prior to this agreement, right? And then once the agreement undergoed, we were still under the Trump administration, right? Or not the Trump administration, we're still under coronavirus. So it is the case that there was significantly less demand.
A slight, but you still can't justify that as far as air travel, vacation travel. People still got to go to work and drive the vehicles to work, COVID or not. But even on top of that, the next one is inflation. Even Kamala admitted that she wants to go back to the Trump era where inflation was down, but she says her slogan is, we won't go back. We won't go back.
No.
So admitted that Trump...
No, when they say we're not going back, they mean in terms of those candidates. And by the way, it's Kamala Harris.
Well, maybe I don't speak the same... I don't pronounce my words the way you do. Don't judge me on that.
Well, Kamala is not difficult for you to say, is it?
No, neither is nachos or tacos or tacos. You see, it's a tomato or tomato, whichever way you want to pronounce it, Bubba. It's the same thing.
No, so I mean, if you know how someone's name is pronounced and you can pronounce it that way, why wouldn't you do that?
I don't want to get into this deal with you about how I pronounce my words or names like the way you...
No, I'm not saying all names. I'm just saying like someone's name when you know they have a preferred method or preferred way of pronouncing it.
Sure, some people say tomato, some people say tomato.
Yeah, so that's not. I think it's disrespectful to say that like her name is reduced down to the name of tomato. Right? Like I think that obviously our names matter more than like the name of a tomato.
I did not say
that's not a person.
Some people say tacos and some people say tacos.
Okay, that's still not a person.
I wouldn't fault them. For that.
Is a taco a person?
Of course not, but what I'm getting to is the way people pronounce their syllables. There's nothing wrong with that. Why are you going to fault me for that?
Because it's a person, and you can not do that.
But I so choose to do so. You're going to tell me how I can and can't speak or pronounce names?
If you're going to purposefully mispronounce her name, I think that that's legitimate to take that as disrespect.
Parker, I just pronounced your name properly. And somebody in New Jersey calls you, hey,
Thank you.
Parker. Are you going to give them riff because they pronounce your name Parker instead of Parker? Does that make them a bad person?
So again, if you are purposefully mispronouncing my name, right, in a manner in which I prefer not to be, right, then yeah, I wouldn't think that's okay, right? Like if you had a particular way of saying my name that like I didn't like, and that you like again clearly didn't do that, then that's fine. But you having like an accent or someone having an accent is not the same thing as literally, right, mispronouncing her name on purpose. Her name is Kamala. That's literally a pronunciation. That's not an accent.
I would like to understand why it bothers you so much the way I pronounce your name.
Okay, so do you just want me to go on to the next person because you're just like being utterly ridiculous?
No. You brought this up.
They have a preferred way for you to pronunciate their name. Is that difficult? Is that really hard for you to understand? That they have a preferred way of pronouncing their name?
It's not, but so now we have rules on how to pronounce people's names. And if you don't pronounce it correctly,
You're just being obtuse. You're just being obtuse. Like you're doing it to purposely disrespect her.
I don't think so.
You're gaslighting at this point. No, because you know it's disrespectful. You know everyone knows it's disrespectful, and you still keep being like, "Oh, trying to play like, oh, I don't think it's disrespectful. There's no way. I didn't know that. Like, well, what? No, come on."
Well, okay, Kamala. That make you feel better?
Kamala.
I'm sorry. You see, that's just the way it comes out. I don't mean no disrespect or anything like that. I mean, not everybody can pronounce it the way she wants it to be pronounced. I don't think it's anything disrespectful.
You can pronounce it that way. There's nothing stopping you, and you're purposefully mispronouncing it so that you can piss people off. You're doing that on purpose. You're a rage baiter, bro. Totally rage baiting.
Oh my goodness. I did not want to get on your live feed to do this. That was not my intentions at all. At all. I don't want to disrespect your live feed in any way, Parker. Not in any way. I just wanted to come in here and have a friendly discussion, not an argument, a discussion with you. That's all.
Okay, do you want to have that conversation? Or do you just get off on the public perception?
Public perception? No, not at all. Not at all.
I love you. Thank you so much.
Well, let's talk about the inflation fact. She was, as vice president, run under Biden economics. That's Bidenomics. That's what they called it. And now she's totally flip-flopped on that.
On Biden's economics, which ones?
Well, they called it Bidenomics.
What is she flip-flopped on?
Well, she was for the Green New Deal. She started to flip on that. She was against.
So you understand that she changed views over time?
No, it's just in the past.
You understand that in the past, Trump didn't want to leave it up to the states. In the past, Trump didn't want to pay for IVF. In the past, Trump didn't want to do plenty of things. Right? He's changed his views. In the past, he didn't advocate for no tax on tips. So is he flipping?
No, she's flipping because now she's...
Oh, why is he not flipping? Now he's a Democrat. Why is he not flipping? He was pro-choice. Why is he not flipping?
He flipped for the right reasons.
He flipped for the right reasons. So did she. Now you're just fucking weird for saying that.
He stole his slogan about no more tax on tips when she...
Stole? That did not come... No, that's been talked about for a long time. Ron Paul?
Ron Paul's not running for president, bro. He's not.
And
I hope you don't
did
mind
say that.
calling you bro.
I hope you know that it came from people prior to him.
But in the last 35 days, she's flipping on everything that she previously said just months ago as vice president.
Yeah, Bernie is too, by the way, everyone. But someone just got annoyed with me saying that for some reason. So I
None of these other cats are even in the race. We got to talk about the here and now. Who's running for presidency and how they're flip-flopping. Trump hasn't flip-flopped in the past, we're going on, 7.5 years since he first took office?
No tax on tips. He flip-flopped. He flip-flopped recently with the paid for IVF thing. Right, because his Republican base really didn't like that. He literally flip-flops all the fucking time. He said he wants peace, but then he's urging Netanyahu to he wants people to stop dying. I want peace. Stop dying. But then urges Netanyahu not to accept a ceasefire because it would make the Democrats look good. And then also, he says he really cares about the border. The border is such a big issue, but then gets people in Congress, calls them up to not support the border bill, and undermines that, right, to not let the Democrats get a win, okay, on that as well. So there are multiple things that he went against in terms of his core values, right, just to win. So don't talk about flipping for me.
Well,
don't even bring that up, bro.
Would you at least give me this? That under the Trump presidency, compared to the Biden presidency, which is we're living in now,
there were the galaxy. Thank you so much.
Far fewer immigrants coming into this country under Trump than there are under Biden.
So actually, their daily crossings right now are lower than what they were at the end of Trump's administration.
Okay. I don't want to argue about that because that, to me, that's a false statement. Second,
it's from you can literally find this from the head of the DHS, and you can find it from the Customs and Border Protection. Rich the Rockstar, thank you so much, Taishi.
So you're telling me under the Trump administration, there were not any more migrants coming into this country than there are under the Biden administration today?
So there was in the prior years and months ago, but now due to a recent executive order, it is the case that there's a reduction in the amount of people who are coming here. There was a 50% reduction in border crossings, right, due to a recent executive order.
I'm taking into the consideration the day that President Biden took office till now. I'm not just talking about the past couple of months. Secondly, California given up to $30,000+ to immigrants for a down payment on a house.
So that's nothing to do with that. I'm talking about the presidency.
Well, Biden's president.
Thank you. That's not federal policy.
That's not federal policy, but yet.
And what you refer? Did you say Gavin Newsom? Because that's a proposal that's not even passed.
But to even think of proposing something like that, don't you see?
That's for a state government. That's not even the federal government.
But what way does the state of California vote?
Leave the handout. Thank you so much. Well, we do through propositions on the ballots.
No. California.
Kelvin, you think I'm paid by the DNC? Trisha, thank you so much for the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Trisha. Thank you.
Definitely.
Why do you think I'm paid by the DNC?
I don't know. You're just too smart, man.
He's well versed. I'll give him that. Hello.
Yeah, you're still here. Appreciate the detail. Thank you.
Yeah. Why is it the blue states and the sanctuary cities are all blue states? And now, look at what my governor here in Texas did, shipping all these immigrants up to New York, Chicago, everywhere he could. And I live about 2 hours away from the Mexican border, down here in South Texas. And
Republicans do that with people across the board. They do that with people who are homeless. They do that with people who are literally migrating to the country. You understand they do that, right? I appreciate the handout. Thank you so much. Because out of spite, because they think it's bad. They're like, oh, immigrants are bad. Homeless people are bad. We got to send them to those places where they're going to care for them more. Because we won't do it.
But when
What happened to community? What happened to caring about people? Like small town areas pride themselves on like, right? Oh, we really care about each other. But then like those places, like honestly speaking, have like some of the lowest level of like social services to help people. Appreciate the hand art. Thank you so much. And they just rely on big cities to do that.
well, exactly, because that's where most of your Democratic-run places are, is in big cities.
So then why don't we just federalize it? Why don't we federalize these systems? Make sure everyone has them. So
That's
it's not just
socialism.
specified to particular areas.
That's socialism.
That's not socialism. What defines socialism?
The government paying for everything for everybody. Everybody has equal pay.
So no, that's
Equal
not
pay.
one. That's not equal pay. Two, that's not what socialism is. Socialism is when the workers control the means of production, right? It's about democracy in the workplace. That's what socialism is. It's a method of production.
Talk to somebody that, and I haven't talked to anybody that lives in Europe, but talk to people that live in Europe that lives under a socialist.
That's not socialism.
Regardless, why is it that all these sanctuary cities, and when all these immigrants get sent to New York, they got put up in hotels, they got, for lack of a better term,
Talking about state policy. Do you want to talk about Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, or do you want to talk about random state policies, bro?
Well, it to me it goes hand in hand. You know,
No,
if,
it doesn't.
if the state is blue,
Let's
if the
have a
state's
conversation. Let's have a conversation about again why you think that Kamala Harris is worse than Donald Trump. Tell me, why do you think Donald Trump's so great, even though he's been held civilly
Well, don't
liable
you
for
think
sexual
it
abuse,
starts-
defamation, fraud, has 34 felonies, tried to overthrow the government, tried to restrict women's access to abortion, called for a complete and total shutdown of Muslims in the country, right? Literally is coming after people's fundamental rights. You just don't care.
fundamental rights, don't you think it starts in the state? Where the voting comes from, in the state, what the state's doing for the people there, and then they vote nationally? That's why we have blue states, red states, because it starts at the local level. And so if these sanctuary cities are just handing out money to all these illegals that they're hoping to turn into voters.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry, dude. I want like something that relates to Kamala Harris. What did she do that you dislike? Name one thing that Kamala Harris did that you dislike.
You know, I think this is the best way I can answer your question. She hasn't done anything that I could even think of disliking because she hasn't done anything. She hasn't done anything.
So
judge her on.
you say
But
that
she doesn't do
you just
anything.
have. You know what that tells me when you say that? It tells me you've done no research. Because you want to know what's crazy? She literally has done more than any other vice president in United States history. The main thing that a vice president can do, what is it? It's being the person that can be the tie-breaking vote in the Senate. Okay? What did she do? The most tie-breaking votes of any vice president ever. The most tie-breaking votes, including things like the Inflation Reduction Act, which had the $35 cap on insulin, something Trump wanted but couldn't enforce through an executive order, right? And then also the largest investment in renewable energy ever, which actually makes us less dependent on other countries around the world for energy. So long term, that benefits this country and puts America first. And you're sitting there like, oh, Donald Trump's doing those things when that policy did it. And you don't even acknowledge it. You say she did nothing.
So
Expanding access to the Affordable Care Act, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill, the CHIPS and Science Act, the PACT Act, right? This is massive legislation that got done by the Biden-Harris administration that benefit middle-class Americans, benefit veterans, benefit people in this country.
you just mentioned veterans, and the Democratic Party is treating illegals way better than they're treating our veterans. Our
That
veterans
doesn't make any sense.
Moving
Name me
on.
one federal policy that gives money to people who are undocumented and stop calling people illegals, bro. That's so
I just-
fucking weird.
well, because we have laws in this country. That's
I'm
why.
so- okay. Donald Trump has 34 felonies he's been convicted of. We have laws in this country. You don't care about them. Donald Trump's been held civilly liable of sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll. We have laws in this country. You don't care about them. Donald Trump right now is under indictment, right, literally for fucking insurrection, okay? And you don't care. Don't talk to me about the law and enforcing our laws when you don't give a shit about enforcing these laws as it relates to Donald Trump. It's rules for thee, but not rules for your king.
Parker, he
Sonia,
went
Bridge of the Galaxy,
out
thank you
on
so
the
much.
insurrection deal and got acquitted of all that stuff, Parker. They did.
No, this is a recent
Parker,
indictment,
you
genius.
knew if they could lock him up, they would have. Why
Well,
haven't they?
sentencing's
going
gonna happen here pretty soon, buddy. Hey, I hope he goes to prison with sentencing. I bet you'd vote for him from prison behind bars.
Parker, you just mentioned 34
Would you
convictions.
vote for Donald Trump behind bars?
Why isn't the man behind bars?
Would you vote for Donald Trump behind bars?
Probably so. But Parker, you just mentioned
See what I mean?
34
September 18th. September 18th. I hope he gets fucking put behind bars. Think of the blessing of. Thank you so much.
You mentioned
You're going to
34
vote for a convicted
convictions,
felon
Parker.
behind bars that's a proven sexual abuser, fraudster, election denier who tried to overthrow the government. This
Okay,
guy's a
so
threat to
why
this
isn't
country.
he
This guy's a
locked up?
threat to this democracy, and you're voting for him. He's going to
If
be written
he's-
down in the history books to be such a threat
If
to this
he's
country.
so guilty, Parker, like you claim, why isn't he behind bars already?
Because September 18th is literally sentencing, and for the civil courts, that's because statute of limitation law.
You know, Parker, I had a individual that murdered my son about 3 months ago, and he's not
I'm
behind
really sorry to
bars.
hear that. And
And I
I
don't
think
even know
that
that
person's guilty. I think
But-
that person's guilty, and I believe you, Isaac. Even though it is the case that you don't have that criminal conviction, even though that person isn't behind bars, so that's crazy that like you can't identify in this scenario that even though someone's not behind bars, that doesn't mean they didn't commit a crime.
So, do we live in America or do we not live in America? I mean, if you're guilty of a crime, serve the time. And
Well,
they've tried and
has
tried
to
and
get
tried
sentenced.
with Trump, but they can't convict him of anything. If he's convicted
He was
felon,
convicted.
like you say, then why isn't he behind bars?
Sentencing happens September 18th. You're acting like just because there's not sentencing, that means that they're not convicted. You don't know how our criminal justice system works.
But yet, this man has almost half the country supporting him.
So,
But
people supported Hitler. What's your point?
That's comical.
I mean, it's true. People did. And people are
You're
supporting
right.
Donald Trump.
And what happened to Hitler? Yeah, bro. I don't know. And I don't mean to argue with you, Parker. I appreciate you letting me on and everything. It's been a great conversation. We'll just see what the American people want. And I guess the vote will speak for itself and go from there. It's kind of like picking the lesser of the two evils. You
So
can put
how is
Democrats
the convicted felon, proven sexual abuser guy who tried to overthrow the government and restrict women's access to abortion somehow the better choice? Appreciate the hand art. Like, please make it make sense.
I would hate to answer that question because I'm probably going to get thrown off of this live video chat. Because, I'm just not going to go there, man.
Why would it get you thrown off?
Well, let's just talk about our VP pick. His nickname is Tampon Tim or whatever it is. He wants to put tampons.
Yo, I fucking love Tim Walz. I love Tim Walz.
So why
He's an
does he have a
amazing guy.
nickname?
And
Why does he have a
you don't know
nickname?
that policy. That policy does not say that you are mandated to put it into boys' bathrooms. What it does is it says that any person who is menstruating has access to menstrual
Wait,
products.
you just said
That's
any
all it
person.
mandates. That's all the
Yeah.
bill mandates. It mandates that people who have literally a system that menstruates, right, will have access to menstrual products. That's a right. That's a right to me. It's a right to Tim Walz, and I fucking love that guy for that. That's amazing. Universal
said-
school free lunches, paid sick leave. This guy fights for workers in America. He fights for the American working class, and you're voting for a guy that fights for corporations over the working class. What the fuck are you talking about? This guy is a 24-year veteran, right? He's high in the military, and that guy, he's coming to support this country. And yeah, absolutely, I fucking love Tim Walz.
Parker, when I was
CBU,
in,
thank you for the $10. Thank you so much.
when I was in elementary and kindergarten, I had free lunches. That's nothing new. That is nothing new to have free lunches at school. That's nothing new at all. They're proposing old plans. And you mentioned,
Universal school free school lunching and lunches and like breakfast that does not exist universally around the country, and I hope that Tim Walz can bring it to the country, right? Everyone.
You're telling me that kids that go to school this day will be denied food if they don't have $5 in their pocket to eat.
Yes, and some yes.
Oh, yeah. They
Yeah,
might
that's-
not get to eat what everybody else eats, but they'll eat something. They'll eat something. They're not
It
going
depends on the state. It depends on the state.
But you're okay with that going back to the state, but you want it federal.
So again, so yes, I want it to be federally protected that kids have these types of lunches. Right, I want it to be federally protected that people have health care. I want it to be federally protected that women have the right to get access to abortion. Right, I think that stuff should be federally protected. I don't want those rights should be left up to the states. When I say free lunches, I think there should be significantly better lunches for our children. I think that we should treat our children very nice in this country. And I think right now, like the lunches that I grew up with, the breakfast I grew up with, I would like better than that.
I would have to disagree that the free lunches that were given at school were way better than what some parents feed their kids at home.
No, I'm not saying they weren't. What I'm saying is that we should have really healthy food. We should have really good food. It tastes good, right? Given to our children. I think it should be a thing that if people rely on having food at school, that's okay. That if a kid goes that they don't want to eat all these things, right? There's so many kids that are like that. When I was a kid, I literally there are so many kids out there that because of certain eating preferences and whatnot, they can't eat the food that exists there, right? I have a lot of issues as it relates to eating throughout my entire life. I've dealt with it, and as a kid, I literally wouldn't eat the lunch. I literally wouldn't eat it, right? So I think it's very important to ensure that kids are incentivized to eat because it's very important for their development, right?
Oh, I agree.
And again,
100%.
eat healthily, right? Eat healthily. So there also needs to be dietitians in schools. Right, I think that's very important. The fact that every school does not have a registered dietitian is concerning to me. Okay, I think that should be mandated in every public school in this country, a registered dietitian as well.
Parker, I'm almost 50 years old. I did not have a dietitian when I went through school.
Me neither. I
didn't learn
I think
about heart disease and cholesterol and all that stuff till I got into my late 30s, early 40s. This, that, and the other. But you are. I'm not saying you, but it's going to be very difficult to convince teenagers and early 20s people to eat healthy and convince them, hey, this is going to help you out longer in life. Start doing it now. No, people are.
If it tastes good and you get them involved early enough, it absolutely is something that you can convince people.
I know.
We just have created a culture where that type of stuff isn't as relevant to people, right? And and it's very expensive. So if you do provide it for free to everyone and you make healthy food not expensive, I think people will choose to have the healthy food that tastes good. Because a lot of people associate healthy food with not tasting good. It's really important to make the healthy food taste good. And
tell McDonald's to stop using.
And Julia, thank you for the $50 on Cash App. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Julia. Can we get some W's in the comment section right now for Julia? Thank you so much.
Well, let's start telling kids and using kids at McDonald's commercials, Taco Bell commercials, Pizza Hut commercials. And these are your huge corporations that are running.
I don't think the way to restrict this stuff necessarily is to completely cut it off from people doing private stuff. What I'm arguing for is to incentivize it through the public sector, through public schools, right? That's what I'm advocating for, and through education, right? And then also in society, I think that we need to have the same types of regulatory standards as what they have in other countries, right? So I'm not advocating we completely restrict everything. I'm advocating just for the regulatory standards that are accepted worldwide.
I think we are where we are in this country because of capitalism, free choice, free will, everything. Everything's about.
Rebecca, thank you for the $10.
And people that own these humongous corporations don't care about your kids. They don't care about
Donald Trump. Like Donald Trump. So why do you want to vote one into office?
Will you give me just a minute, please? I'm trying to agree with you just a little bit. And when I do agree with you, you still want to shut me down? I am not.
I was making another point.
I am not saying what Donald Trump wants to do with this country is the best thing in the world. I'm not saying that. But the way I look at it, probably the last greatest decade that we had was the 80s, early 90s. And I'm sure you were born, in 80?
According to what qualities? According to what standards? Savannah, thank you for the $15. Thank you so much for Tampon 10. Thank you so much.
There wasn't so much hatred back then.
There wasn't so much hatred. Thank you for the confetti. Thank you so much. You don't think there was vast racism, homophobia? You don't think that was very prevalent? You don't think misogyny was prevalent? Like, okay, if you're a white man in America, a white cis straight man in America, yeah, you probably didn't realize it because people didn't talk about it as much. But now people do talk about it.
Thanks to what? Social media.
Yes.
Everybody
because I am able to make these platforms, other people are able to make those platforms, and we're able to talk about these things. We're able to spread awareness.
Great. That's great. I appreciate that. That's great. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying you were. I'm just acknowledging that the culture is different now due to the internet and technology and social media.
But a lot of people, I'm not saying a lot of people. I got to be careful with my words when I'm talking to you because you chop block my words sometimes when I'm talking.
Sorry, I'm debating.
You know, and I know you didn't want to talk about the Bible, but this goes all the way back to biblical times in the book of Corinthians. Homosexuality has been alive since the beginning of time. The Bible talks about it. The thing was that it was just very hidden and very quiet. Nobody wanted to say anything about it. And now social media has just exploded.
You're saying people have been stigmatized the same way people were stigmatized for being left-handed. People were stigmatized, and not many people talked about it. It wasn't really recognized, right? Appreciate the confetti. Thank you so much. But over time, it became less stigmatized. But there were plenty of cultures throughout society that didn't stigmatize it in the same way we stigmatize it. But that doesn't mean that just because it was stigmatized or not stigmatized in a particular way, that means we should do this a particular way. I appreciate the hand. Thank you so much. I don't look towards the past to do that. What I say is that we should not stigmatize being GAY because there's no good reason to do that. What is the reason why you want to restrict two consenting adults from consensually engaging in what they want to?
You have my vote on that 100%. I never said that, and that's not what I believe in. Don't get me wrong. Don't twist my words. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just pointing out the obvious, how times have changed, that it's more open now. It's everywhere now. You know, I mean, Target's making commercials.
Yeah, because it's okay to be GAY. So I can't say it because TikTok TOS, for some reason, they took down my last live because people were saying GAY. But like, it's really weird. I don't know why they do that. But yeah, that's the point, is that there's more inclusion. What's the issue with inclusion?
I would have no problem with inclusion.
I live in Los Angeles, and it's not everywhere. So it's like, where the hell do you live that like it's everywhere?
Oh no,
I do not see pride flags everywhere, and if I do, I would be like, based. I'd be like, that's based.
Maybe
it's inclusive. Like, what is so fucking wrong with a rainbow, bro? What's so wrong with saying we should accept people who are GAY? What is wrong with that? That should be something that you accept as a great thing about this country, that we can accept people and there's freedom, right? For things that there's no reason to restrict people or to stigmatize them for. That should be a good thing about this country, that we celebrate. We celebrate the fact that we are able to include more people in the land of the free, right? How can you say it's a land of the free if you don't extend that to GAY people?
Parker, may I get a word in edgewise here, Bubba? Appreciate it. And forgive me for calling you Bubba. I'm sorry before you.
I don't mind. I don't care.
It's not the inclusion, if that's what you're trying to sum up in a nutshell, to be included in anything. It's when they try to shove it down your throat.
How?
Well, let's take Tampon Tim, for instance. We'll go back to that conversation.
Tampon Tim, that's a compliment, by the way. Making sure that people who are menstruating have access to menstrual products is a good thing.
Okay,
I'm sorry you don't realize that as a man.
Parker. Yeah, see, you called me a man, because that's what I am. But
yeah, no, you're a man that doesn't realize that.
Okay, will you answer me this? When would I ever need a tampon? In my men's bathroom.
Do you have a significant other?
Yes, I'm married for the past 25 years.
So she says, "Oh, can you get one for me?" Are you gonna walk into the women's restroom, or are you gonna go into the men's restroom and you can grab one for her, right, and then come out?
Usually, my wife is a very responsible woman and takes everything she needs.
Let's say she didn't have one, though. Let's say she didn't have one. Is that not totally legitimate? Not only that, but for people who are menstruating. And also, by the way, the bill did not mandate tampons to be in boys' restrooms. It did not mandate that. It mandated that everyone who's menstruating have access to menstrual products. Most schools in Minnesota do not put them in boys' bathrooms.
You know, Parker, if I was to walk into a woman's bathroom at a restaurant and ask for, geez, I can't even think what I could ask for that I would need in a woman's bathroom, they would call the cops on me and have me arrested for walking into a woman's bathroom.
Yeah, so Isaac, can you just acknowledge that you would just go into the bathroom and you could get it there? And you could get the tampons there? It could be useful in that context?
No, I would tell my wife, sweetheart, if this is what's going on, we need to get back to the house. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Let's go back.
Why wouldn't you want to be
CVS or something or Walgreens and get what you need, and we're out. I am not going to walk into a woman's bathroom and scare the bejesus out of women because
Dude, Isaac, I'm not advocating you do that. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm saying, Isaac, listen. I'm saying there are some contexts where it could make sense.
Okay,
my girlfriend. Listen, I'll explain. Me and my girlfriend are at a restaurant. She forgot her bag. She doesn't have anything, right? I could get one for her. Does that not make sense?
Well, why don't they just put it in the lobby then? Why does it got to be in the men's bathroom? Put it in the lobby.
I never said it has to be in the men's restroom. I never said that.
But
you just said, Isaac, shut up and listen.
That's what Tim wants to do.
Thank you so much. No, it's not. I just explained this to you, Isaac. Literally, Isaac, the bill literally does not say that you have to put tampons in boys' bathrooms or men's restrooms. It specifically says that people who are menstruating will have access to menstrual products. Most particular schools did not have them in boys' restrooms, and they still complied with the law.
So you're telling me that the janitors don't fill up the tampons enough in the women's bathrooms that they have to put them in the boys' bathrooms in case they run out of the women's bathrooms?
This guy is like the most unbelievable.
What? I mean, no, I'm not. I have a very difficult time understanding your logic about this, why they have to be in the boys' or men's bathroom if they don't keep stock.
Hey, listen, I never said they have to. You're not listening to me.
I am now.
I literally have an AI thing, and it thinks I'm not real, and then I'm hitting refresh, and it's not letting me do it. So do give it a second, everyone. It's saying I have no internet connection to. Oh, here we go. I got it. We're good. We get verification complete. It knows I'm not an AI. There we are. So again, why are you freaking out over tampons?
Well, that's the thing. What do they call that? Context. What's
Jerry, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much, Jerry.
I still, against your argument, if you feel that they need to put tampons in the men's restroom in case...
Isaac, I never said that. Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
Well, that's what Tim...
Listen, that's not what he fucking wanted. I've said it 4 fucking times now. You dense individual. You have no fucking ability to listen to shit. You are the most unbelievable person I've ever talked to. Listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. Holy damn shit, dude. Fuck. Appreciate the rock star. Thank you so much. Jesus Christ, you are the worst. The literal worst individual to talk to. Thank you for the hand art. Again, for the millionth fucking time, listen to what I'm saying. Jesus. All right, it is the case, right, that in order to comply with the law that Tim Walz put in place, you do not have to put them in boys' or men's restrooms. It's just that people who are menstruating have access to menstrual products. So most schools do not do that. Most in Minnesota do not do that. Okay? And they still comply with the law. I was just saying that it is the case that you could find a utility in it. That's all I was saying. That's it. Samantha, thank you for the $3. Thank you so much. And you're like incapable of fucking listening. Alexis, thank you for the $1. Thank you so much. Tampons can plug bullet wounds. So real. So real. All right, dude. Are you going to unmute, man? You have to click your profile picture in the bottom right and then click the microphone. And then he's not going to hear anything that I just said. By the way, everyone. Did you hear anything I just said?
Yeah. Are we bringing somebody else in?
No. Tell me. Can you tell me what I just said?
I mean, you were praising everybody for the flowers and the money and everything, so yeah, I got kind of confused with that stuff. But I think what you're saying is, and what Tampon Tim did, he